You're listening to the Unwritable Rant podcast with your host, author, and occasional misanthrope, Juliette Miranda. Go to theunwritablerant.com and you can subscribe on iTunes or connect with the show on Facebook and Twitter.
Well, hey there, y'all. This is Juliette Miranda, and you're listening to the Unwritable Rant podcast, episode 108. I'm taking a break from my usual boozy storytelling, and instead speaking with comedian Jim Norton. But first, y'all, I need a little bit of whiskey. So grab a glass, fill it up, and join me in saying cheers, y'all. Whew. In my glass today is Town Branch Rye Whiskey. I want to tell you just a little bit about it before I bring on Jim. I have to say, I am really beginning to appreciate rye whiskey as a sipping drink. It's definitely whiskeys like this that are kind of turning me around a little bit, because this is a big, bold rye. It reminds me of why I loved Atomic Fireball candy as a kid. There is just a huge punch of cinnamon right up front. But then it kind of balances out a little bit with some honey, maybe some pear sweetness towards the back. This is a potent rye whiskey. And I'll tell you, it does taste a little bit better on ice. Because at 100 proof, there's some grainy alcohol flavor that just needs to be mellowed out a little bit. Overall, though, tasty stuff. And I will tell you this much, it holds up to a conversation with Jim Norton. Jim is a New York comedian and writer. His 5th comedy special, Mouthful of Shame, is on Netflix right now. He has 2 books that hit the New York Times bestseller list. And right now, he is on the road with his Kneeling Room Only tour. Plus, he can be heard every morning on the Jim Norton and Sam Roberts show on SiriusXM. Y'all, I was so excited to talk with Jim because I am a huge fan. We cover a lot of ground in this interview. From Jim's current tour to the way that comedy evolves as you evolve. But definitely the point being, you gotta own your role in it. And beyond that, we've got a couple of bonus questions given to me by friend of the show, Bob Levy. So I just want to say thank you to Jim for taking the time to talk with me. Y'all, get comfortable. And let's hear from Jim Norton. This is Juliette.
Hey, this is Jim Norton. How are you?
Jim, it's good to talk to you.
Oh, you too. Is it okay to call in now?
Yeah, absolutely. I am all set up. So you've got a lot going on. Your Kneeling Room Only tour started this weekend in Seattle and Portland. How's it going so far?
Yeah, the crowds have been really nice. Like, whenever you start a tour, my problem is I don't know what order to put shit in. So the fact that they were as responsive as they were this early gives me hope that it's going to be a great tour.
That's fantastic.
I'm not just saying that to give the positive spin. I really feel like it's going to be a good one.
Well, now that you're into it, how do you balance everything that you've got going on from touring and radio and podcasting?
I feel I do all of it average. So the thing is, you do a bunch of things mediocre, and then you hopefully will one of them will hit. But I don't know if any of them are ever going to hit. But I'm enjoying all of it. I'm enjoying the stand-up. I'm enjoying the podcast. I'm really loving all of it.
Well, you're setting expectations then.
Well, yeah, you want something to work. You want something to go well,
Oh, absolutely. And I know that you're going to Europe as well. Why was now the right time to make the trek?
Well, I've been over before, but I've just never done England. I wanted to do London and Manchester and Dublin because I get so many emails from these guys. So I'm hoping that they actually come to the shows and they weren't just emailing me for no reason. You know what I mean? They were emailing me, and I'm hoping now that I said I'm going to come, that they'll all of a sudden show up at the gig.
Would you worry that they wouldn't?
Oh, God, yeah. Every time I do a show, I expect there to be 9 people there.
9 people?
Yeah, I have no faith.
Well, I'll tell you what, for the Chicago show, I'll be there, so you at least have a guaranteed 1.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That was where I started the tour. The last Mouthful of Shame tour was started there. It was amazing. I think I'm doing a different venue, but those Midwestern crowds are fucking phenomenal. They're like the best of city and the middle America. They're just great.
Yeah, I find that whenever I see comedy here, it's just the room is always good. Everybody seems to be having fun. It's just I think Midwesterners are so bored with our lives that we need, a little bit of release.
I don't know. I mean, we're just not as uptight. I'm really not sure.
Now, I know you said with your Mouthful of Shame special that it was a little bit dirtier than you intended. Are you going to be taking that same approach with this tour?
Yeah, I'm going to do all of it. I just, I didn't, because some of the things I cut out were not, like, you cut things out as you go on. And I realized I cut some of the things that weren't dirty out, so the dirty stuff stayed. So now I kind of, this one is dirty as well. I just, I'm not going to all of a sudden be clean.
Well, and I think that's what I really enjoy about your comedy so much is just you're so fearless in what you say. And so many people today just feel very restrained. Yeah,
it's like you're scared because they're scared of losing something. I don't know if I'm going to lose anything or not. There's not much they can take. So, I think that I don't have much to lose. So I make decent money. But when you feel like you don't have much to lose, you kind of take more chances.
Have you always approached it that way? I mean, it seems to me that it would take just a tremendous amount of courage to go out there and not be concerned about what audiences are going to bring to the table.
Well, you care, but the reality is that you understand you can't control how they're going to react to stuff. So you kind of just stop trying to find what they approve of and just do what you like. And they can kind of sense that, and the audience tends to respond.
Well, and everything that you do is so personal as well.
It is, yes.
Is there ever really a point where, you draw the line and you just say, nope, that's just too much? I mean, even the other way around, is anything ever not enough?
No, I mean, I will take, I'll talk about anything. You know what I mean? I'm okay. None of it is too personal to discuss. None of it.
So you never regret anything? You never look at the room and you say, ooh, that wasn't what I intended?
No, not at all. I mean, because the worst that can happen is they don't like it. So no, not at all.
And how do you keep it honest still while still being funny?
There's always things in your life that, are there to talk about. So you always have fresh material. That's all. There's always stuff to talk about.
Well, I only asked because I was reading in The Hollywood Reporter where you'd said that you're becoming a little bit of a nerd as you go through this. And yet you still have these really just raw, gripping jokes. Has your approach changed at all?
You have to do what feels honest in the moment. Like, I want it to be funny, but it's like my approach isn't any different. Like, I talk about politics the same way I always talked about it. I haven't changed any of that. No, I don't think my approach has changed other than the fact that I'm less afraid now of what they are going to think.
I was listening to a debate that you did with Lindy West a while back regarding rape jokes in comedy. And what I appreciated so much was the argument that you made about media and how it contributes to violence in a way that comedy never could.
Right.
Do you think that comedy now is really kind of our last honest reaction to society?
I wouldn't say it's the last one, but it's the last one that kind of, I would say, I'm trying to say it's the last one that kind of reacts without consequence, but now there are consequences for it. So I can't even say that accurately. You know what I mean? It used to, like, what was Mel Brooks' quote? I just tweeted this recently. Comedy is the lecherous little elf that whispers into the ear of the king, always telling the truth about human behavior. That was a great quote by Mel Brooks. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but that is what it is. It's like you're just trying to tell the truth about what it is we do. And now people are blaming the truth you're telling instead of looking at all of us going, look what we do. I still try to talk about what we do. Like, I don't give a shit about Trump. He's not the problem. We are. We are the problem. The way we judge politicians, the way we, whatever the politics are, we are the problem, not the assholes we put in office. It's us.
Well, and it's the way that the media glorifies it in such a way that we're almost looking for, a Roman fight with a tiger.
Yes, I think you're right. We are.
So what does that make your position then as a comedian? Do you look at it as being your job then to kind of shed a light on these things? Or is it just, like you said, something that has to be organic and natural?
It has to be organic and natural. My shedding a light on it is incidental. What you're doing is talking about what you want to talk about it. The fact that does shed a light on it is one thing, but that should not be your goal.
And how do your characters like Chip and Edgar, how do they kind of play into that? Is that more of a way to tell jokes that you couldn't otherwise?
It's fun to find the worst joke. To be very honest with you, sometimes it's just fun to find a shitty joke and do it. And that really is all it is sometimes. You know what I mean? With Chip, you find the worst one and say it. And with Edgar, you're just saying awful stuff, which is so much fun. That's a really, really good time to do.
Well, yeah, what I love is just the way people react to it. You see their expressions. They're not quite sure if they want to, laugh or if they should, kind of draw back a little bit. I think it's amazing just the way that people respond.
Yeah, they don't always know exactly what to do with it. Like the Chip Live podcast went up today, so I'm hoping people really like it. I am really hoping people enjoy the live podcast because we did it like September 11th and it's finally online now. So I'm hoping that people love it because it was one of the most fun things I do. But I love people's reaction to Chip. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy the way people react to stupid Chip because it's such a nonsense. And the fact that people are ruining their relationships with it makes me laugh.
What do you mean by ruining relationships? Oh,
my God. They just keep doing Chip to their girlfriends, or they do Edgar at work. I love hearing that. Like, dude, when couples will come up to me after, and he'll go, she fucking hates Edgar, and he'll go, he does it all the time in the house. Like, they're being nice to me, but I know that they mean that shit. He does Edgar all the time in the house, and she wants to fucking cut his throat. And that always makes me laugh that this idiocy is permeating people's lives.
Wow, they're taking it to heart. That's crazy.
That's what makes me laugh so much.
It's got to be just so gratifying. Well, I don't know if it's gratifying to know that you're ruining people's relationships, but it's
yes,
just fascinating to me the way that people respond to stuff like that.
It is, yes, but again, it's such a silly thing, and I truly love doing it. I mean, I truly do.
I know you've done a couple of animated shorts with Chip. Do you have any plans of maybe doing a series?
Well, what I've been doing now is I've been releasing all of these, because people got mad at the first ones I did, which were scripted, but now I'm animating segments of the podcast. They had done a bunch of fans had donated money. So now all that money is going to these like 3 to 5 minute ones of the podcast, and people are going crazy for it. They really like it. So I don't know if I would do a series or just animate the podcast. Like, I'm fine just animating the podcast. It really makes me laugh to do that,
Wow, I haven't seen any of the new animations. It sounds like it would be just wild.
Yeah, there's a few of them. There's like 4 of them up, and there's 2 more that are being done now, that are being worked on. But I've had a problem with both of them, and I think that they were almost the processing is they're playing on YouTube. They're kind of green screening out a teeny bit, so both of them are having a technical issue. But I got 2 of them that are going to be ready to both go up in the next 2 weeks.
Do you think animation makes comedy a little bit easier to swallow? Because I'm looking at...
It does. Yes.
Like shows like Border Town or F is for Family. I mean, there's some raw jokes in there, but, they're out there on Netflix and people are loving them.
South Park as well. Yeah, it really is. People have an easier time swallowing it from a cartoon, and I don't quite know why. I enjoy cartoons. I much prefer a real person saying something than in a cartoon.
Even looking at Netflix, it seems to me like it's becoming kind of a new home for comedy. Do you think it's possible that it's maybe taking HBO's place?
In a way, yeah. And plus, it's worldwide. You know what I mean? HBO is only in the U.S. They're doing more than HBO did, because an HBO special happened once in a while. Netflix is doing like 1 a week. Spectacular the way they're pumping it out. So yeah, it's the place to be.
Well, and you've had nothing but great things to say about working with them on your special.
They were amazing. Honestly, creatively, they allowed anything I wanted to do. They didn't interfere. They made a couple of mild suggestions. They were tremendous. So yeah, I would work with them again in a second. That's all you ask for, is like they allow you to be funny. And they did. And they didn't fuck with me at all. And the suggestions they made were actually really good.
That seems like it would be so rare today.
Oh, it is. A lot of shitheads in the business. And a lot of shitheads trying to tell funny people how to be funny. And they usually are not.
Well, I think it's been that way from the beginning, just from what I've heard from everybody, that there's always some sort of underlying motivation that these people have in trying to coach people into getting these things done.
Well, everyone likes to put their stink on us.
Yes, right.
So it's nice that Netflix did not do that. It was really nice that they just let it work as it was meant to work.
With your Kneeling Room Only tour, are you just doing weekends, or is this kind of like constant?
There'll be some weekdays, but I'm going to say it's going to be a lot of weekends. Because, again, the radio show I do with Sam Roberts, the Jim Norton Sam Roberts show, it's kind of hard. I can't leave that for too long. So, I mean, and I like doing it. So I really, the majority of it, I'll just do Friday, Saturday, the occasional Thursday, Sunday, sure.
And I was just thinking, I spoke with Bob Levy earlier this week, who's a friend of our show. And he was telling me a little bit about some of the craziness that y'all got into back in the day.
Oh, okay. It's probably true, whatever he said.
Well, he was mentioning something to me, and it sounded kind of terrifying. He was saying that it was you, him, Jim Florentine. He was talking about a peep show in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. We were all looking at each other. Yeah, we could see each other's faces. That is a true story.
What the hell was that all about?
It was just something to do. I mean, this is, again, before the internet, really, or the internet was very new, and they didn't have much. So to look at porn, you still have to go with your friends. It was still a group activity. So that was just a bunch of good friends just enjoying a group activity together.
A group
now
activity.
we go for coffee. Yeah. Back then we jacked off and made eye contact. Now we just now we do a little something different.
But yeah, he was telling me something about what you did to a TV set in Florentine's room. I think it was Revenge or something.
Jim Florentine. Yeah, that was in Towson, Maryland. We had done a show at a place called Tracy's at the Bowman. And Florentine always fucked the waitresses. Bob occasionally fucked the waitresses. I never fucked the waitresses. So Bobby and me came back to the room alone, and I think we ate pizza, and then we both jerked off on the TV, but not facing each other. Like I saw Bob from the back, and then he watched me, and we left two loads on the TV, and then Jim just came back and went, beautiful. Like it didn't affect him at all. It honestly didn't affect him. He didn't give a fuck.
He was probably
Crazy.
used to it by that point.
Yeah, he just wasn't surprised.
And apparently there was an event with you and Rich Voss in Central Park.
Oh, where I was squatting, eating a girl's ass while she blew him. Yeah, I was. And then I go, my legs hurt. And he goes, well, how come you were squatting, not kneeling down? I'm like, well, I didn't want to get my pants dirty. And he goes, you were just eating a girl's ass who you never met before, and you're worried about your pants getting dirty? I'm like, well, that's a really valid point made by a stupid person.
Were they really expensive pants?
No, I never wore expensive clothing. My clothes were awful. I was really a white trash poster. But the idea was that I wanted to keep them clean. Like, I didn't care about my health. I just really wanted them to be clean, which was kind of crazy.
That's impressive. Just for my own personal edification, did y'all really put stuff on all the furniture in the room so that chicks had to sit on the bed?
Yes. That was Florentine's idea. We would actually put furniture in the hallway sometimes, and our luggage would always be on the furniture. It was a genius move, and I credit Florentine with that completely.
Did any girl ever just say, hey, get your shit off the chair?
Yeah, once in a while a girl would move stuff. Like but again, they just didn't think of it, really. When they would do that, they weren't thinking, well, these guys prepared the room. You know what I mean?
I don't understand how anybody could not notice that. That's ridiculous to me.
It is. Back then, they just didn't know. I don't know why.
So what kind of craziness are you anticipating on the road now?
I've mellowed a lot. I was just dating someone, and I don't know if we're going to date or not. I just don't know. I don't know if it's going to work out, unfortunately. But no, there's been no craziness. I've been really mild and well-behaved. All the crazy stuff kind of got boring after a while, So
where does the fun come from now? Is it in doing the shows?
Yeah, and also in doing other projects and stuff. And also you just get older. I mean, the reality is you get older, and that stuff is no longer as fun as it used to be because I've done all of it. I've done all of it, so there's really it's not nearly as fun as it used to be.
Well, I can appreciate that, having spent half of my youth dating rock stars and now finally settling down and getting married. It certainly makes things more interesting to not be in constant.
It does, right? Not in turmoil all the time, not in crazy upheaval.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes life so much less complicated.
Who is the biggest penis as a rock star that you saw?
That is not something I will ever tell.
Why not? That's not a bad thing to ask.
No, it's not. I get asked that all the time, but I talk about it a lot on the show, and I've made it very clear that I'm never going to name names.
Okay. Oh, you've never named any names? How about a song that they've done? Instead of naming the name, how about you name a song they did?
No.
I mean, why not? Now we're all being open here, so why not?
All right. We're all being open here. One of them wrote a song about thorns.
Thorns. Okay, so it's. I think I know that one. Yeah, I forget the name of it, but I know which one. Is it Whitesnake?
Oh God, no! I have better taste than that.
Okay. No, I don't remember. But I do think I know who it is.
You probably do.
And they the big penis or no?
Marginal.
Wait, was that Sebastian Bach?
Oh God, no.
Oh, why do you say it like that?
No, I'm just not a huge fan of Sebastian Bach.
Oh, Poison. Okay. Every rose has a thorn. So let's see. One of the guys in Poison. How long did you date him for?
I wouldn't call it dating, but we were casual for...
Oh, you hooked up with him?
No, we were on and off for a while.
You're not going to cut this out, are you? Come on, I admitted jerking off on the TV. You're just saying that you banged, who is it, CC DeVille? I mean, whoever it was. That's not a big deal.
Oh, Christ. That's terrifying. That man is insane. All right. Well, you know what, Jim? I think I've told you my biggest secret.
I appreciate it. It was a really good one. A really good one.
I can't believe you weaseled that out of me, but that's all right.
No, why not? It's all fun. You're not insulting anybody. You're saying the guy had a decent dick. So what? It's cool.
I'm curious, what is your thought on podcasting in general? I know you have yours, but there are a ton of upcoming podcasts. Is it anything that you ever pay attention to or, listen to?
No, honestly, no. I mean, I'm going to do Joey Diaz right after you, who I love. I'm doing Rogan on Thursday, Corolla Wednesday. I've done Marin a few times. I've done The Nerdist. I've done a really good podcast, and I enjoy doing them. But I do radio every day. That's no different than a podcast. Podcast is more of just a pure interview than a real than a bunch of stuff happening. No, I don't listen to any of them, but I do enjoy doing the ones I just named a lot.
I feel like kind of the same way that Netflix is supporting comedy. I feel like podcasting kind of has an edge in that it's a little bit like the Old West. There aren't as many rules and regulations on it. There's a little bit more freedom in what you do.
You're right. A lot more freedom because there's no boss other than the advertisers. There's no boss at all, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of freedom in it, I'm finding, because just as somebody who writes, you have an editor, but when you're out there with a podcast, you can really do whatever you want.
You really can, but the responsibility falls with you too. So if it doesn't work, you can't blame anybody.
Right, you've got to own what you say. I mean, that's the thing about putting yourself out there. You always have to own your role in it.
Yes, you do. You have to own your role in it, and you have to own the response it gets, whether it's good or bad.
Bob Levy really talked about you with a whole lot of affection.
I love Bob Levy. Bob Levy, I did a tremendous amount of gigs with him when I first started, and I love Bobby.
He's a sweetheart. I think he's got a little bit of a reputation of being, raw and a little uncorrect, politically speaking, but he is the nicest guy I've ever talked to.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby's very abrupt. Bobby, like a lot of people on Twitter and all that, is just a reactionary guy. So what happens is you'll see an immediate reaction sometimes, and a lot of times it is harsh. But if you talk to him, you know what I mean? He's much more of a thoughtful guy than you would know from Twitter. He's a guy who just reacts, and then you talk to him, and he goes, nah, he's a really sweet guy. But it's a lot of times it's hard to tell someone's a sweet person on Twitter while watching them on stage.
And what are your thoughts on social media in general? I mean, Twitter itself has caused tremendous trouble for a lot of people. Well, again,
it's us reacting quickly. None of us will think things through. We just blurt shit out, and there's a lot of anger in Twitter. There's a lot of immediate emotion in Twitter. So, yeah, it can be absolutely bad, but it's good to promote. I certainly don't hate Twitter. I mean, I enjoy it. I use it a lot.
I finally weaned myself off Facebook and am completely off it, which is probably the greatest feeling of just liberation I've ever experienced.
Oh, really? You like being off it?
Well, I mean, I use Twitter, and I love Twitter because, like you said, it's very quick and immediate, whereas Facebook, I just felt like I was drowning in all of this nonsense that was just flooding my feed. Yeah,
there is a lot of real, like, long opinions and videos, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff. You know, a lot of stuff on Facebook. It gets overwhelming, but I kind of like it.
Do you prefer Facebook over Twitter?
Yeah, they're both the same. I think Facebook at least has more room for dialogue. You can do it more than 140 characters.
That's also a little bit terrifying, though.
Yes, I guess so. You're right. You can. Sure.
Well, I think it's fortunate that you are having such a tremendous response. Your tour is going great. You're selling out shows. This is fantastic. I'm really excited to see you when you come to Chicago.
Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to getting out there, to be honest. I love that gig. So, yeah, absolutely. I am ready to go.
Well, as a reminder to everybody who's listening, Jim can be seen streaming on Netflix with his special Mouthful of Shame. And you can find all of his tour dates on his website, jimnorton.com.
Thanks very much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I really appreciate you talking with me, Jim.
Anytime. It was nice talking to you.
It was great talking to you, too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Go to theunwritablерant.com and sign up to get early access to interviews and new videos. You can hear new episodes of The Unwritable Rant on radiovegas.rocks every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern and on IPMNation.com on Saturdays and Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern, and hear best of episodes every weekday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget to connect with Juliette on Twitter at Morning Neurosis.
Girl, you was pretty as a Sunday morning, standing on the corner at Carondelet. What you say we make our way up to Bourbon, a couple hurricanes and a hand grenade, and get blown away. Let the chips fall where they may. If it's all the same, what you say, bon ton relay. Hey, pretty mama, I can smell the gumbo. Sweetest taste of honeysuckle on my lips. Good God Almighty, I can hear the trombone. Every heart ought to beat to a rhythm like this. Come a little closer, honey, let me hold you. Nothing tastes better than a bourbon kiss. You can be the flower on my magnolia. Every heart ought to beat to a rhythm like this.